What's up, guys? Scott here, and today I thought we might start the video off with a bang. What do you think? Yeah? Alright, well, it's gonna be loud. I don't know about you, but that sounds absolutely sick. And that guitar tone is coming from the U530 from Mercuriall. First of all, I want to give a huge, big, awesome thank you to the guys at Mercuriall for allowing me to do this review because they supplied me a review copy so that this video could even happen. I've heard a ridiculous amount of amazing things and just praise out the window about the U530, and I finally got to give it a shot, and I'm happy to present my opinions in this video. As always, timestamps are in the video description. So one thing I wish more companies would do is create informational and useful websites just like Mercuriall's done. This site is awesome, and it has personally satisfied my natural curiosity of wanting to know a little bit more about them and the product. Speaking of, they are a Russian company. They have a really nice About Us page that you guys definitely should read through when you're coming to pick up the U530. As an aside, I did work with an IT company here in Kiev for a while, and if what I experienced about Russian programmers is true about these guys, then the U530 is going to be meticulously perfect in any way possible. Looking at the U530 store page itself, I mean, ton of info. I could make a 30-minute video just on the store page, but we're not going to do that. The first and foremost, obviously, the product is based on the Engel E530, okay? It's a personal favorite of mine. I really like the Engel sound. So for a long time, because of that, I was using the pteq-x, but I think now that plugin will be retired. Now, if you're into the technical nitty-gritty details and you're a programmer, then this store page is going to give you orgasms because anything you could possibly want to know about this product, they put on the page here. Further on down, we have all the technical aspects of how each part of the E530 was modeled to be the U530. Like, seriously, this video, like I said, would be 20 minutes if I just went through this. So I highly recommend you guys check it out, give it a full read because it's worth it, all right? Basically, we've got 8 different cab impulses. They're all modeled top of the line. They're all mic'd with an SM57. I mean, you really don't want to have a potato for a computer, but you can get away with some minimal requirements in order to use it due to some of the settings that you can change. There are also a bunch of demo videos from other YouTubers, and you can check out what they had to say about it. So guys, we have a manual that comes with the U530, and it literally covers everything that I'm about to go through in this video. So please, RTFM when you get the product, because it literally does detail everything, okay? Huge kudos to Mercuriall for actually making a freaking manual. Piat Balov. So we're looking at the U530 in Sonar now, and this thing looks awesome. The graphics are nice and soft, colors look great. Just looks fantastic, right? So graphics aside, let's start going through the interface here. So this is the preamp or clean channel up here with the expected tone knobs. The bright knob, when you enable it, it's going to boost the treble range. The documentation says that it's going to boost ranges above 2K. To the right, we've got the chorus section, good old chorus, stereo widening for your clean channel if you want to use it. You know, good old chorus. The knobs here are self-explanatory in my opinion. Now we have the lead gain. So here we are. Basically, it's the meat and potatoes of the U530. One thing about this tone stack is that it's documented meticulously in the manual, okay? There's no guesswork involved. The low mid knob is going to be controlling the 500 hertz region. The high mids are controlling around 1K. Now this is great because I always like knowing this because my guitar is particularly sensitive to these ranges, and being able to dial in the tone as much as possible without EQ is always a plus. The contour knob here affects the mids of the guitar and has a few different modes. So if you click it once, 2 things are going to happen. The mids between the 300 and the 500 hertz range, and the mids between the 1K and the 2K range are going to be slightly boosted. You'll know this is enabled because the LED light, it's going to be red. Now, if you click it again, you're actually going to get an orange light. This is important to note because if this is orange, then you have enabled the E430 mode. Now, E430 mode means you have changed the entire tone stack to emulate the E430, and it's not just doing slight mid boosts at certain frequencies. So, red light is an actual contour of different mid frequency boosts. The orange light, you're actually now emulating the entire tone stack of the E430. So if we look further to the right, we've got more gain options and more knobs. Clicking between high or low gain does what you'd expect, of course. One thing to note here is that if you're using the clean channel and you have the high gain knob, active, you're going to have a much more pronounced crunch sound. So be aware of that. You can enable or disable the clean channel or lead channel with this knob right here. You can also completely bypass the preamp with this preamp defeat knob. Pretty self-explanatory in my opinion. Continuing on with presence and master control knobs, your power amp knob, and finally the output of volume. If you have disabled the power amp, then your output volume is not going to work either because they're connected. Just below here, we can see which tubes we get to work with. We actually get 3 different tubes to choose from. These are based off the real actual tubes, and these are the real names. TS means tongue soul. Now, this is where I basically had to cut it short because I am not an electrical engineer. I can't talk in depth about different tubes and tube this and tube that. Oh, this tube makes me horny. This tube gets me hot. I don't know really anything about that. I just know what I like or what the differences are. And basically, the RSD tube is way hotter than the other 2 tubes. So that's really all I can give you, right? Below that, we can change the oversampling mode. Keep it around X2 or X4 if you're playing live, because X8 really should only be used for bouncing or printing your tracks. The last setting is a fast, precise mode. If you're doing any live playing whatsoever, just keep it on fast. Trust me. Precise is only made for bouncing or printing your tracks. If you try to play live with precise enabled, you're going to have troubles. And you can try it. I'm sure you're not going to believe me. You're going to try it anyway, but you're going to understand that I was right. So have at it. So I've saved the best for last. One of the most amazing features of the U530 is this graphical representation of a mic position. Now, it's not a static position like in recabinet or something like that. You can move the mic position in real time as your guitars are playing to find a tone that you like. That is freaking awesome. Now, I thought this was so awesome, actually. I was like, I need to know more about this because I really didn't see anything on the site where they talked specifically about how they did this. So I asked them, and they told me what they did is they took a bunch of different IRs from different positions and distances from the cab. And after that, they took the IRs and they programmed a special algorithm which would calculate any position that didn't have an IR response, basically. Doing it this way allows for smooth and real-time mic position adjustment, and it's absolutely killer because I spent just like an hour at least like listening to the same 10-second loop of my riff going, oh my god, what about this tube? What about this microphone? What about this cab? Oh my god, this is amazing. La 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 la. It's really awesome. It's like infinite amount. How can I say this without sounding like an idiot? It's just infinite possibility of guitar tones. Really, it's great. So in order for this to work, as it should, again, I was told that they need to build real-world prototypes. So they take the component and then they model it as precisely as possible. And I got a lot more like super specific technical information that goes right over my head. So I'm going to leave it out of the video. But honestly, it's an extreme level of detail for a product like this. And it's really amazing. So in my opinion, this makes the product right here. This is what sets this amp sim apart from everything else that I've ever tried before. Oh yeah, when you're done finding a tone that you like, don't forget to hit the little lock button here. It locks your tone so you don't accidentally click on the grid somewhere and ruin your day. So when you find something you like, click the lock button. And finally, the last thing I'd like to talk about actually is the cabinet selection that we have here. Now, these are all based on impulse responses of basically the top 8, the top 8 famous guitar cabs. It defaults to the 4x12 modern G12M, which is the Marshall 1960A. The T75 is going to be your Wagner Uber Cab 412. The vintage K12 or K120S, that's your Marshall 1960B. The modern V30, I think this is your Mesa Boogie. This one right here, this is a high watt the 2x12 modern V30. This is going to be a Bogner 212C. The 2x12 vintage blues. That's your Vox AC30. And then finally we have a 1x12 vintage P12R. This is a Fender Tweed Deluxe. So, talking about that demo that I played earlier in their video, that thing is so sick. I mean, I forgot how brutal it was until just now. For this demo session, I decided to use Shreddage Drums just to change it up a little bit. Sometimes I like to try some new stuff. It's a default kit. I just did some EQ and compression, all that good stuff, nothing crazy. For the bass, I'm using Bass of the Gods, which, by the way, if you have not seen my Bass of the Gods video, you absolutely need to do that, because I think Bass of the Gods is the best bass VST for metal on the market. Also, in that video, there's a 20% coupon code that Spartan Sound Studios gave me for my subscribers to use. However, that coupon code ends at the end of October, so click this link right here, after you're done watching the video, of course, and go grab yourself Bass of the Gods. At this point, I've done what I'm starting to consider my trademark technique, where I'm quad tracking and using different impulses, and I'm treating them like separate microphones. What I've got going on here is the TS-808 with everything down the middle. I originally tried using the Waves GTR version of this, but it just didn't sound good to me, so I went with the old version of TS-808. This gate I always have for tracking. I typically take it off or remove it before I bounce or print tracks, and I do manual gating. Finally, the U530 itself. So here's my tone stack settings. My guitar is a bit retarded in the low mid range, so don't be freaked out if you consider that to be a really big cut. It's pretty normal for me. I also do tuck the bass a smidgen as well. Since I'm quad tracking, I need to point out that I do duck the gain. It's important to duck the gain if you're quad tracking or just dual tracking too. I didn't use the default cab, however. I went with the vintage K12. Sorry, I always get this wrong. The vintage K120S, which, as I just mentioned previously in the video, is the Marshall 160B. Now, for both of my 80% pan guitars, the microphone position is about 2 inches away on the outside of the cap edge, as you can see here. Now, I pulled the microphone out a little bit because I wanted to capture a little bit more of the highs, a little bit more grittiness. And I decided that's the one I wanted to blend into the 100% pan guitars. Now, the 100% pan guitars are exactly the same, except for the mic position. It's about 1 inch from the speaker instead, and it's a bit smoother, okay? So let's have a listen to the 80% guitars by themselves, and then we'll listen to the 100% guitars by themselves, and then I will go ahead and put everything together, and you can listen to that. All right, so now that you've had a listen to the guitars, let's just actually look at the EQ. I made a point in this particular demo do as little EQ as I felt was possible to do. You're really going to be surprised by this. So with the Waves Q2, it's a standard high and low pass. I always use the Q2. Around 110 is where I decided I was going to high pass my guitar and let the bass start taking over. The Waves Q10, I'm taking out 3 very small cuts, basically in the low, mids, and highs. It was pretty harsh after adding those 80% guitars in, so I ducked around 3.3K. There was a nasty buildup around the 600 range, took some out there as well, and I ended up having to take out more in the 100 range ish to clean up the lows. After that, I threw on the Waves Axe and its moderate compression, and literally that's it. It was ridiculously easy to mess around. Actually, it was fun to mess around with the plugin to get a tone I liked, and then it was easy to process it. Definitely the easiest time I've ever had processing a tone. So I'm going to play all the guitars back, and I'm going to enable and disable the EQ so you can hear the differences, all right? So I really don't know what else I could say about this product. In my opinion, it sells itself. I mean, I've looked at a ton of guitar VSTs in the last 5 years, working with digital guitars, and Mercurial really has something special here. I was never a fan of Amplitude. I never bought or really got into the other popular guitar amp simulators. I don't have a Kemper, or anything like that. So I think $60 for this Mercurial Tube Amp 530 is stealing compared to what we discussed in the video with the mic placement of things that you can do, all the cabs that you get. The tone stack is meticulously modeled. It sounds really good. The amount of care and detail that went into this, is pretty obvious, okay? The only reason not to get this would be, I guess, if you're not a fan of angle heads or you don't like the sound in general anyway. At that point, good on you. You do you, I do me. Other than that, I really don't see why you would need anything else if you're a fan of angle and you want an angle tube amp guitar sim. This is the one for you. That does it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If it was helpful, please consider a like rating and subscribe if you haven't already, because more videos are on the way. Have a good one.